program brought to you by Conduit Media Group.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome. Hour number 2. Thank you so much for being with us. My name is Paul. You have found the intersection of conservative ideas and reality. We are building a liberty machine, and we want you to be a part of the program. One of the ways you can do that is to call us or text us, 870-275-9799. Hey, I want to welcome back to the program a friend of mine. Many of you know him. His name is Mr. Richard Castor. He is the host of a radio program called The View from Hillsdale. Richard, welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's such an honor to be here.
Absolutely. So I know we've had you on, and we got to hang out on, I guess, around Christmas when I was in Mountain Home. We've had you on before then, and I just wanted to ask you a little bit about what's been going on down in Little Rock. I don't know if you've been following it, but I saw some of your Facebook posts recently, and I couldn't agree with them more about what politicians are doing down in Little Rock. Just tell us a little bit about what you think.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think we've seen a few good things happen. We do have a lot of good people down there, like Nelda Speak, Scott Flippo, people that represent my county up here. But it's sad. I said that, I was really sad to see our fellow Republicans, these people who are sent down there to uphold our party platform, it seems every day we have a new challenge to that platform. We have Republicans who are more than willing to what they call generate new revenue, this revenue generation that they're talking about. And it stands in complete opposites with what we're supposed to stand for as a party. We are the people who run campaigns saying we want less money in the government coffers. We're the people who run campaigns that say we want money in the pockets of the people, in the pockets of small businesses. We're supposed to be the ones that are helping our communities thrive. And instead, we're going to start taxing. I heard you talk the other day about that single mom who gets done working 2 shifts, goes home and orders something on Amazon, and now she's going to be taxed on it. And we have a governor who releases a statement saying that that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we got here and how we got here so quickly, but it made me sad. And our party platform is such a good platform in the Republican Party. You remember the great Phyllis Schlafly? She, when she endorsed Donald Trump for president, she said, "I'm endorsing this man because he told me he's going to uphold our party platform, and our platform that we have written is the most conservative platform we have ever had as a Republican Party."
Wow.
When we talk about things like the internet sales tax, right in there, if I could read it to you, it says that we want a government to encourage the sharing economy and on-demand platforms to compete in an open market, and we believe public policies should encourage the innovation and competition that are essential for an Internet of Things to thrive. We will consistently support Internet policies that allow people and private enterprise to thrive without providing new and expanded government powers to tax and regulate so that the Internet does not become the vehicle for a dramatic expansion of government power. Does that sound like the party that's in control of Little Rock right now?
Wow. No, absolutely not.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's just absolutely wild. We're talking with Mr. Richard Castor. Now, Richard, he's calling from Mountain Home. Now, Richard, you're involved in the Republican Party at the county level in Baxter County, right?
Yes, sir. I'm making myself in trouble. I'm the county chairman of the local GOP.
There we go.
And, I think it's important that we have people working in the party who are going to stand on the party platform and not be afraid of that phone call when someone says, well, you can't be talking bad about the party. I'm not talking bad about the party. I'm talking bad about certain policies down in Little Rock that our party should be fighting. And we should be united on this. It shouldn't be conservatives versus establishment or anything like that. We should be united in trying to figure out how to lower taxes. And Paul, I will say, if you take the governor at his word, if you read kind of through his lines, it would almost seem that he's fighting for what we would call a consumption tax instead of an income tax. And, Milton Friedman, I think that was Milton Friedman in your opening,
yes.
Great economist. And I think he would say, yes, a consumption tax is much not just better for the economy. It's more just in a way that you tax people on what they consume instead of what they earn.
I agree.
And that's a great thing. And if we want to go down that road, my gosh, I would be the biggest cheerleader for our governor. But I think what we have to be on watch for is that they're going to start this consumption tax and keep the sales tax, and we're not going to see this lowering of taxes while we're increasing taxes.
Yeah.
I could be surprised. We could wake up and miracles can happen, and all of a sudden, our income taxes may lower. But I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's we always have to wait, and I think our governor right now is he is not worried at all about what true conservatives, what the base of the party feels. I think he is more concerned with getting another 4 years. I think he is convinced that the only challenge to that second term is going to come from the left, and a realistic challenge. And I think that's why we're kind of getting the shaft the way we are right now. But as far as tax policy goes, yeah, I mean, a consumption tax, Richard, so much better because of the reasons that you mentioned. But we always have to wait. We have ridiculous supermajorities. Well, a supermajority in the House, a close one in the Senate. We can do whatever we want to do. And on the second day of the General Assembly, the governor goes into a joint session, and he says that we're not going to have any real tax reform because we're going to set up a task force. That recommendation is not due till September of 2018, which means the business owners of this state get no real tax relief until January of 2019, and it's actually going to be beyond even that because these laws, many of them don't go into effect until the next year. They could make them retroactive or whatever, and they may, but you get the point. This is far too long for us to wait when we are supposed to have party platform believing Republicans in office.
Mm-hmm. It is too long to wait, and that's why your show is so important, Paul, and everyone being really active in government who listens to your program. We have, and I don't want to say too much about it, but there's an educational bill going down, and it's about to hit the committees down there in Little Rock. And I got a phone call about it yesterday. It looks like the governor is going to support it, but we're afraid it may not get out of committee, and it's a school choice bill because people aren't involved enough to call their state senators, and to say, no, we want you to fight this fight. We want you to put your neck on the line. And so if we want this to get done quicker, it's not enough to turn on the radio every day when I get off work at 5 o'clock, listen to Paul Harrell and get angry about it. We have to listen to Paul Harrell and do something about it. And whether that's getting involved with your local Republican committee, getting involved with something like Americans for Prosperity, or getting involved, just learning your state senators or state representatives' phone number and really making the case that we expect something different. What we've got down at Little Rock is just more of the same. It's about, it changed party names, but we haven't seen the change of policy that we have been fighting to see. With everything from the private option to these new taxes, we've got more of the same, just with a different party name on it.
Yeah.
And we have to expect something more, and we have to communicate that to our representatives because something's going to give. Either we're going to wake up and people aren't going to be motivated to vote Republican anymore, and that's the scary thing. If we don't motivate our people to get out because we need change down there.
Yeah, I know. I know the people in Baxter County, are some of the most conservative people in the entire state. I mean, that's why I was so thrilled when we got to, we got to pick up this great affiliate, Mountain Talk 97, and we're so grateful, so grateful for them, putting us on up there. I just feel like the Republican Party so far, like the establishment, this is a leadership problem. This is a leadership problem, but the leadership is putting true conservatives in a very awkward position. And one of those we saw, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, with the veterans tax. We had a tax cut for veterans, but we had to raise taxes on other things like candy, soda, as well as they threw in digital downloads, which was kind of a precursor to what we're fighting now with the internet tax.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that? I mean, to hear, we had Senator Jim Hendren from Northwest Arkansas take to the floor of the Senate and essentially say, for us to complain about taxing the downloads of Pokemon so we can help the veterans is un-American. I mean, he I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially he got really close to that. I mean, the Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, he went on Mr. Dave Ellswick's show and, let the leadership have it without saying anybody's name. So what were your thoughts when that whole saga was going on a couple weeks ago?
I won't tell you my thoughts. I'll tell you the thoughts of a veteran that came into my place of work. He was a World War II veteran, an older gentleman, very proud Republican, a proud conservative, a proud American. And he said, what the governor just did made me feel sick. He said he used me. He used a tax credit for me to bribe and swindle these other Congress people, these other state senators and state representatives, into feeling like they had to vote for this bill, and that's not what we do in our party. And I thought he said it better than I ever could. That is exactly what went on. These veterans who we love and we support and we would do anything for were used as a prize to go and vote against the conscience of our state representatives. And I understand that ours here in Baxter County, some of them voted for it. And they called me and they said there was nothing we could do.
Yeah.
The governor put us in a corner. We promised to vote for the veterans, and all of a sudden it was attached to this bill to raise taxes, and my hands were tied. I made a promise, and I always fulfill my promises, and they felt they had to vote that way. Now, if it was me, I would have just gone to bat against it and voted against it. But I understand the situation that these people were put in, and, it's a terrible situation. These are games that shouldn't be played with our politics. These are games that we shouldn't see on our side of the aisle. And sadly, I think Tim Griffin was absolutely right. We're seeing them be played, and, I understand that people don't like to use names and they don't like to accuse specific people. But we're coming to a point where we got to come out of the shadows and just say it. The governor did this, and we don't feel it was right. That's not a scandal. That's not, on us. We're just looking at the truth of the situation. And we have to come to a point, and I think, Paul, you're leading the way here in Arkansas, giving people courage and the backup to point this out, because before this era of conservatism in Arkansas politics online and on air, it just all happened in its own little echo chamber, and the word didn't get out. But now that we can see it and we can bring light to these situations, it's really important that we stand up and say, no, that wasn't okay. And again, it goes against the basic principles that our party stands for, that government really should be blind, right, when it comes to taxing one group or another. There should be a fairness in it. And we love our veterans. But if you ask the average veteran on the street, how much special treatment do you want the government to give you? Do you want us to tax you less than another citizen? I think most veterans are going to say, no, we want what's fair. We want what's just, and the government shouldn't look at people in groups. We shouldn't see people race, gender, age, work, whatever you do in your life. Depends on what box you sit in. No, we're all Arkansans. We should all be on a level playing field. And it's great what we talked about before, if we want to switch from an income to a consumption tax, because that's what a consumption tax is. It's equal for everyone. If you go buy a boat, no matter what, how much you make that year, you're going to pay the same amount of tax on that boat, right? And that's the complete opposite of what's happening here now. We're using this consumption tax to give benefits to certain groups of people, to where we should just be lowering it for everyone.
Yeah,
and we haven't made that leap yet.
Yeah, and it points it out. I mean, the fact that we all have to pay higher taxes so somebody can get a break, even if it is a veteran. It's just pointing out the fact that we're having to to lose more bigly than we would need to. It's pointing out that we're taxed too much. That we are
exactly.
Our taxes are way too high, and with the with the business owners and the people are talking about how we have to pass the internet sales tax on out-of-state sellers that the Supreme Court currently says is unconstitutional. People are saying that we got to do this because it'll save our mom and pop stores, and I think that's disingenuous. I think people are still going to continue to buy on the internet, and again, we have just a talking point. Mom and pop stores are now under attack, and we've got to save them. And, I don't think that's honest. You might could have the fairness argument with it, but I don't think it's honest to say if we raise revenue from, online sales that it'll somehow save mom and pop businesses.
Well, it really begs the question, when does a corporation become evil? And I say that almost in jest, but not really, because, okay, so it's good for Amazon to pay more taxes and to collect these taxes because it hurts Amazon, and we like that because they're so big. But at what point does a corporation or a small business get to that point where it's okay for the government to say, get them, tax those people because they're hurting these other guys? That's not a game we play as conservatives. We love success. We love it when people make money. We want to encourage that. We want businesses to thrive. And in my world, I'm a banker. I love it when businesses make money because I get to make money, right? And that's generally how we feel in Arkansas is, oh, no, Amazon, that's saving me money and they're making money off of it. That's great. But then all of a sudden we have a governor who releases a statement that says, oh, yes, Amazon's going to be collecting taxes. That's going to hurt Amazon. It's going to help other people. So that's a good thing. No, that's politics that we don't like in America. That's not freedom. That's not free market conservatism. That's the complete opposite. That's the government picking winners and losers. If we wanted to have a truly conservative conversation about going back to the beginning, the veterans, if we want to give them a tax cut, okay, make the argument. Let's give the veterans a tax cut. They served our country, and we're willing to give something to them. Okay, great. But a conservative would say, so let's shrink government to pay for it.
Amen.
We're going to make up a number, $20 million every year we're going to not collect anymore. Okay, shrink government that much. Don't say, well, we got to go get money from somewhere else because we're the government and we need it. No. We have the supermajority down there. This is our opportunity to cut government. And the people are saying, we want you to cut government. There's no excuse for it. That's what we should be doing. And it would, this domino effect of picking winners and losers, of taxing some people and not other people, none of that would happen if we would just look at the root of this and say, okay, we want to lower taxes for these people, so let's lower the size of government.
Richard
and
Castor,
that's not a conversation we're having.
Richard Castor from Baxter County, my friend, you've done an amazing job exposing the lack of conservative discussion that's even taking place down there, much less being implemented. I appreciate it, sir. We're out of time, and I can't wait to do this again. Richard Castor, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure.
All right, folks. Hey, we got to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
The Northeast Arkansas Real Estate School offers continuing education classes for your local